Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another Creative Sim for the Disney Save. Today, we are closing out the Black Cauldron, at least for now, but possibly for good, with the main characters from the Black Cauldron, starting first and foremost with Taran, but we will also be doing Dallben in today's video, and they have quite a few animals that are living with them. So Hen Wen will be in the video as well, and these are all the characters that are going to be living in Dallben's cottage, which was the last video I put out, and I definitely recommend you go and check out first. I did talk a little bit about some of the things regarding the characters in that video, so if you want a little bit more information, definitely head over there and then come back over here. But we are starting out with Taran, and the unfortunate thing about Taran is that I think he has a little bit of a generic Disney boy face, especially because of the age of the Black Cauldron and the art style in particular that they drew Taran with. He doesn't really have a lot of defining features that are super easy to drag into a game like this. And even when they put Taran on merchandising, they tend to change how he looks a little bit. Like, I found some pictures of him on some Disney bags, some pins that had been made, maybe some Christmas ornaments, and they tend to change his hair color, change his facial structure a little bit. Whereas if you watch the film, he has a very plain, generic looking face. And I only say generic because I think that he just looks like any other character. And he might be one of those characters that if you put him in a lineup of younger male Disney characters, he's not the most distinguished looking. He's not the most easily recognizable. One of the things that I found that actually helped me quite a bit is that I found this hair from Life and Death, which works out so perfect for multiple reasons. Obviously, he is going to be living in Ravenwood, so it's super fitting to have him in a hair that goes with the world. I love when I can make that work out. And it helped a bit. I was immediately put off by this hair because it sits a little bit high off the head in my opinion, but that could just be volume, and his hair is very fluffy. I ended up going with the movie accurate color, which is like the lighter tan brown for him. And like I said, when he is drawn outside of the film, they tend to put him in like an orangey Peter Pan sort of hair color, and I just don't think it's accurate. I don't really know why Disney does that. I think it's to distinguish characters from one another and make them look a little bit more recognizable, kind of like the argument about putting Princess Aurora in the pink dress all the time so that she doesn't get confused with Cinderella or whatever that conversation is, even though they don't really look anything alike, but I digress. He is a teen. Alonwi was a teen as well, so they're going to make such a cute little couple that you could possibly explore a young romance with, and as they grow, do a lot more with as well. That would be super fun. And I am at a bit of a crossroads with the Black Cauldron, meaning that because of the recent pack, Adventure Awaits, there was a plan for the Disney save that I am putting on hold because I am waiting to see a little bit more about what comes out with that pack. I'm worried that a movie that I was going to put here in this world is going to actually fit better over there. And if it does, then I have to do some shuffling. So that's why I'm not quite sure if the Black Cauldron is done. But I will say, at least for now, we are done with the Black Cauldron. After today's Creative Sim video, I will be moving on to Snow White. You can expect there to be maybe some gap in between videos for the next couple of days while I work on a castle, a huge, beautiful castle. I would absolutely love some recommendations for traits regarding Taran. Any ideas or things that are appropriate in The Sims 4? Unfortunately, he doesn't have a ton of character dialogue and even like interests and things that I can go off of, so he's really hard to place. The only thing that Taran expressly wants in the film is not the life that he has. So he's one of those characters that like hates what he's doing with his life and he wants adventure, he wants to go somewhere. And that's always a really tough translation as far as traits go, aspirations. And then outside of that, he doesn't show a lot of interests, maybe some interests in like fighting and weaponry, but that's not really anything that I can correlate as far as traits go. So if you have any good recommendations, if I happen to have someone who has read the books that I keep mentioning, and although like the books I guess technically are not Disney canon because Disney used the books as the point, like the starting point of reference, I would be okay pulling some details out of that. And I already have, in fact, back when I did the fair folk, some of the names of the fair folk that I went with, which I'm not sure how much of that is actually included in the video, but I did some names that were in the book for the fair folk and things like that, just to pull in, I don't know, some references that make a little bit of sense. Taran was also especially hard to dress because just like all of the other Black Cauldron characters, with the exception of Dallben, really, they all wear tunics. And hopefully we get a pack for that in the future. But even if we do, it's like, do I go back and put all of these characters in the one inevitable tunic that we get with like a future pack? That'll be a little bit tough. So I found something that was a good compromise, a nice layered combo that is the same colors that he wears in the film, and some more handmade looking stitched Enchanted by Nature pants and things like that. Moving on to Dallben. Dallben looks great, and I'm so excited about him. If you pull up a little picture of Dallben, because most of you probably haven't seen him in a hot minute, I did a really great job replicating the face, and I think that it is some of those new facial pieces that we got for Elder Sims. I believe they added this to base game, and it slipped through, and I was like going through all of the new facial stuff, and I'm like, wow, we have like puffy eyes, we have additional bags in the skin and layers in the skin, and it helps a lot. And I actually used it quite a bit for the Black Cauldron characters because of how heavily detailed they are drawn with like the skin specifically. I know that's a little bit weird. The only thing that's unfortunate is the hair, the inevitable hair problem, because so many characters in Disney media are drawn without hair on the top of their heads, but they still have it around the outsides, and Dallben is one of those. So I always have to ignore like the balding cap part of the head and just go with the rest of it. And so I put him in this like sort of slicked back, shorter, same color hair that he's supposed to have, and it does the job. It doesn't take away from his resemblance, which is ultimately what matters, considering that I don't have another choice other than making him completely bald, which is not a good move, and it never works out. So I would rather give him a little bit of hair. And his outfit worked out pretty well. He is also wearing some bits of Enchanted by Nature. Oh, actually, I think it's the Ravenwood pack. And then he's also wearing a Crystal Creations skirt combo and some boots. He looks really good. I am actually really happy with him. We have some more knowledge about him and like the things that he's into. He's a little bit mystical. He is described on Disney Wiki as wise. I am going to be making him a spellcaster. I know I didn't do it for the video today, but in the Disney save, he will actually be a spellcaster that's a little bit more introductory. So you can play with him and learn spells and potions and explore magic through Dallben. You know, I had a little thought when I was watching the Black Cauldron, and again, maybe if I'm lucky enough to have someone that's familiar with the books, you can tell me if this is what happens, because I had like an inkling, or I just thought that maybe this is the direction that the books potentially go in regards to Dallben. I mentioned in the cottage video that he is only very briefly in the beginning of the film, and then when Taran is done with the Horned King stuff, he goes off into the sunset with the other characters, and we actually never see Dallben again. And I wonder, because Dallben sends Taran away with Hen Wen to protect Hen Wen, but if you think about that from the perspective of being like the parent in the situation, it is a little bit odd that Dallben chooses to let the pig go with Taran and have them run away together while he stays there on the farm. He doesn't mention why this is the case, like why Taran has to go off by himself and why Dallben can't come with him, especially considering that Dallben is supposedly magical, so he could be really helpful in this scenario. He just says he has to stay on the farm and then Taran has to go. And I'm kind of wondering if Dallben gets a little bit of like a Luke Skywalker situation slash Aragon situation, if you catch my drift, that maybe Dallben kind of goes down with the farm, because they never show the farm again. Taran does not go back there at the end of the movie. You can assume that he does, but it's a Disney movie, so they want you to feel like there's a really positive ending. And Dallben does not explain why he doesn't go with them, only that he can't, and he kind of sends Taran away to another location and says, go to this other cottage that we own and take her there and hide, because the Horned King knows where we live now and he's going to be coming here. But he doesn't explain why he has to stay in that scenario. And I'm wondering if Dallben doesn't actually make it through the end of the movie, but Disney did not want to depict that as being the case. Although the Black Cauldron has a lot of really dark theming and very specific dark theming that is not in any other Disney movie as far as like I have ever seen. So for them to be weary about depicting that would be odd considering everything else that's shown in the movie. But I've just had that thought. It was a little fleeting one. Maybe somebody knows a little bit more than me and can let me know. Moving on to some of the pets for the household, Dallben does have a little orange kitty named Cat. or that's at least what he calls him in the movie. Happy to name him Cat. I feel like that's a very common name that I've seen 1,000 times. He is a fluffy, little bit like not kept up with orange kitty, and he has droopy sort of ears, and he is a little bit on the larger side. He actually has eyebrows, which is something that commonly comes up with Disney pets, and I have a super hard time with this every single time it comes up. Some of the pets that I've put in the Disney save, I probably have drawn the eyebrows on, and it's something that makes them like explicitly Disney and very expressive, and it's just like a style that Disney goes with. And every single time I do it, I kind of hate how it looks, and you can see me trying to make it work on Cat, and it just looks so bad because he's supposed to have these like very fluffy brownish sort of eyebrows, and they are too much. They are not translating to the art style of this game. And I tried them over and over again. And I even tried drawing them in very specific detail. Instead of doing the light fluffy look that I was going for in the video, afterwards I tried doing a very detailed, pinpoint accurate version of that. And it just doesn't look very good. So I think ultimately what I've decided with my Disney pets is that I'm gonna stop doing the eyebrows unless absolutely necessary. Like for example, Beast, he needed the eyebrows, but he's not really a Disney pet, so I feel like that's okay. So don't be surprised if in the future I go back and change some of my old Disney pets and maybe remove their eyebrows just so that they match with the style of The Sims 4 a little bit better. And as long as you can still recognize who it is, I feel like that's a good compromise, because the eyebrows can be really goofy sometimes. And I think that that's one of the reasons that I don't really love doing Disney pets, because they're so tough and they always look really goofy. And I don't know if it's like goofy in a fun way or goofy in a convincing way or goofy in a, well, she tried kind of way. So I think I'll be going back to edit some of the other ones if they have eyebrows. And I ultimately think that that is like the better move. It's going to be more polished and good looking overall. Hen Wen is our little pig dog. I actually started with a base by the Keilano. If you go on the gallery and type in the Keilano, you will find the most amazing pets. I've talked about them in so many videos. I will link their Tumblr, I believe it is, down below. They make a lot of CC free, mod free pets that you can download that are not cats and dogs. So they'll turn a dog into a giraffe, a hippo, a guinea pig, a chinchilla. There are so many on there that are really lovely. And what I wanted was basically just the base of the pig. So I went onto her gallery and found the one that she had done that was a pig, so that I had the body structure of a pig. And then I knew I was going to alter it from there to make it look more like Hen Wen. So I changed the ears, I changed a little bit of the face shape, I changed the eye color, and then I actually hand painted on the little muzzle nose area to make it resemble specifically Hen Wen a little bit more. But that way the body shaping was already done and you don't have to play with the mixed breeds forever and ever, which is really annoying sometimes, and you'll just get like endless possibilities. I made something similar before with Pua from the Moana household, and I might have even used the same base. It's a mix of a couple of different dog breeds. I took a different one that wasn't the Keilanos originally. I think it was a Chihuahua base, and it looked so bad, you guys. So I ended up going and finding hers again. And full credit, obviously, to her. I just did a little bit of a repaint. I did change the body a bit and the ears and stuff like that, like I mentioned, but I will definitely link them down below so that you can check that kind of thing out. They make more pets that require a little bit of CC, which is cool, like deer antlers and things such as that. If you want some of that and you are okay with custom content, then that is available to you. And then last and definitely least, we have Gurgi, the one that I hate this thing. I am so sorry. Full Gurgi slander, full Gurgi hate. I hate this creature. I hate this character. I did not want to make this thing. I would love a different way to represent this character in the Disney save, or just skip it all together. But unfortunately, he's just a little bit too pivotal to the film. And I toyed with how I could like bring him in and represent him, because I absolutely was not going to bring him in as a full like character werewolf, do the whole nine. It just was not going to happen, you guys. So my compromise was that I would make him a pet. And most specifically, I think that he resembles a schnauzer quite a bit. Now, don't get me wrong, he also looks like a monkey and a koala and 10 other animals. And I totally get that. And I know that none of that can be represented when I do him as the dog, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be fine because I talked to my patrons and a lot of them agreed with me. He's not like a beloved Disney character. This is not a Stitch situation where people kind of want it to be a human that's fully playable, or they want a pet, but it has to be super accurate, and maybe a dog doesn't fully pull that off. This is just Gurgi. Gurgi is an annoying character from the Black Cauldron. If you love Gurgi, this is not, I'm so sorry. I have nothing kind to say about this character. The spoiler of the Black Cauldron, I guess pause or click off now if you've never seen the movie, is that at the end, Taran actually trades his magical sword for Gurgi's life, like to save Gurgi. And I could not be more annoyed at the end of the Black Cauldron that they saved this creature, because throughout the course of the film, this creature steals, puts them in danger, lies, does everything bad by these main characters the whole time. He's just annoying and relentless, and you're supposed to love him. Like, Disney wrote him very much as this like goofy little adorable, annoying but lovable character, but I don't feel that way about him, and I don't think a lot of people feel that way about him. He actually did just come off as, unfortunately, very annoying. And so at the end of the movie, when Taran gives away this cool sword so that Gurgi can come back to life, it feels so unearned, and it feels like not a choice that I would have made personally, because Gurgi puts them in danger multiple times, and he also saves them and helps them, and I know all that, and I get that, you guys. Like, I'm sorry, I don't like this character. I felt like the compromise was to represent him as a dog breed that he slightly resembles, which I do think the Schnauzer, specifically with like the bearded mustache that comes down over the front of the face, and being able to color that appropriately does fit him and does help the resemblance a bit. And then some of the other features of him where I say that he's kind of monkey or koala-like, with the separately colored center of the face and ears, and he has this like puff of hair on the top of his head. I'm doing the best I can given the situation here, and he is going to live with this household with Taran and Dallben simply because I don't know where else to put him right now. I might try to put him in as a stray, but I have been told that strays are only appear in Brindleton Bay, so you would never see him running around Ravenwood, which is one of my issues with just doing it that way ultimately. So I have him living here for now. I will see about making him a single pet household as well. I know a couple of ways to possibly do that, and then see if he does pop up around Ravenwood, and then maybe I will remove him from this household. But definitely let me know your thoughts down below. If you love him, if you hate him, I want to know all the Gurgi thoughts. My community very much was like, yeah, we don't care about Gurgi. So if you're not feeling like that, definitely let me know. I would love to know. And that is going to be it for today's Black Cauldron Create-A-Sim video. If you would like to support the Disney Save, you can do so by clicking the link in my description box down below, or the one at the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will talk to you all in the next one.